Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you guys are doing great. Happy Saturday, wherever you are. I hope it's a lot warmer than I am in New York. It is cold. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the weather, and I got the shock of my life when I went outside yesterday. It was just like, I'm not prepared. But, anyways, wherever you are, I hope it's a lot warmer than it is here. Um, like, really a lot warmer than it is here. It's a little ridiculous here right now. But, anyways, welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our book club. This is a little bit of our book club that, the next big one with a new book is going to be on the 25th. But since some of our squaddies mentioned in a couple of episodes ago that there was just some things about Spare that has not really gotten either the attention that it deserves, or you know, we haven't really focused on certain things, especially in part three of Spare. And I thought, yeah, there are some things in there that we can definitely talk about that have not gotten either the press or even the attention among squaddies, the things that we tweet about and talk about even on the podcast, that may not have gotten the attention that it deserves. And so I would love to talk about those. I'd love to talk about things that, and anything else that you feel like, wow, this is really important that we haven't really touched on, especially, or some new things that, if you're like me, have read or listened to chapter 3, which is, um, the Master of My Soul, I think it's called. And so I've listened to it a few times, and I feel like you get different things and you pick up different things that you may not have gotten when you've listened or read it the first, I don't know, 10 times. So I would just love to hear, from you guys what you thought. So I'm going to be in the chat most of it, and I'm also going to put the link in the chat, and if you'd like to call in, we'll give you a couple of minutes and call in and share what your thoughts are. And so that would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So hold on one second. Let's see. Let me put this link in this chat right now. Copy that. Okay. And I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'm putting it in the chat, and I'm going to say hello to all of my friends in the chat right now before we move on and do our thing. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, our awesome moderator Lydia is here. Hello, Lydia. How are you? Happy Saturday. And Lydia is saying hello and reminding us, please like and share. If you're in here, just definitely please click that like button. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, and and hit the notification bell so you know when we drop a video. And if you're able, definitely join the 2 Cents Crew and be part of our 2 Cents Crew. 2 Cents Crew will help support the channel monthly, and you get little perks as we go along the way. So that would be awesome. So thank you so much, Lydia, for reminding everyone. And our other awesome moderator, Karen M, is here. Hi, Karen M. How are you? I said hello to you earlier. And Rosa is here. Hello, Rosa. How are you? And Betty is here. And Annie is here. Annie's just saying hello to everyone. And Tuntun Book. Oh, hello. How are you? Not sure I've seen you here before, but hello. Let's see who else is here. Oh, Karen Rennie is here. Hello, Karen. And Dolores is here. Hello, Dolores. And let's see, Sunshine. Oh, there we go, Sunshine. And Sunshine 7959 is here. Hello. Hello. Let's see who else is here. And Emma Day is here. Hello, Emma Day. Brenda Gray is here, and Tara Lovette is here. Hello, guys. And here we go. And Sean is here, and we're not talking about Andrew today. So, but we'll just say hello to Sean. But we're not talking about him. Johanna is here, or maybe I mean they did mention him in the book. So, Jeannie is here. Hello, Jeannie, and Lottie is here, and Renika. And so, if you guys would give me 1 second, I just realized I forgot to do something on YouTube. So, hold on 1 second, listen to the music, and I will be right back. Okay, so I realized I forgot to sort of, make sure only people who have subscribed for more than a week are in our chat. I forgot to safeguard the chat. And I was like, oh, I just realized I forgot that part of it. It's one of those days. I'm going to blame it all on the weather. So anything that goes wrong, I'm going to blame it on the weather. Um, Also, I mean, again, we are very much, everyone is home, and exactly. So I expect, if you call in, there might be noise. Even on this end, everybody is home here. So if there's noise, just so nobody's outside today. It's just too cold. So if there's noise, it's like here or outside, wherever. So, and I expect it probably on your end, especially if you're in New York, because everyone is cold and we're all inside. So there. Um, but anyways, yes, oh yeah, Catherine is like, yes, Better Squall is a cold and the best day to review chapter 3. I think so too. I absolutely think so too. What a better day and better time to sit here and chat about books, and I realized I should have had my tea with me, and I drank all the tea and forgot I should have stayed on, made some more for this time. And I was like, shoot, I forgot my tea. So, but that's all right. That is all right. But anyway, so yes, our faves. Harry's book, of course, it's still number one around the world, doing great things. Number one in audio, number one in hardcover, number one in Kindle. So, I mean, it's just number one. So period. And it's so funny. I was looking at the New York Times bestseller list, and I kept thinking, oh, poor Michelle Obama. Michelle is probably thinking, why did I release my book right now? If it wasn't for Prince Harry, my book would have been number one. And it's just like, yeah, I kind of feel for her, because it's just like, I'm sure it's a fantastic book. I have not had a chance to start reading it yet. And hopefully this time we're reading Tyler Perry's book. And oh my goodness, I started reading it and I realized, like, man, I knew nothing about Tyler Perry. I had zero knowledge. You know how sometimes you feel you know somebody because, I don't know, whatever reason. And then you realize, like, oh, I knew like literally zero about this man's life at all. So I'm very excited for when we discussed his book. Uh, on the 25th of February. So if you haven't already started, I'm very excited. I was just like, shoot, man, I did not know this man at all. So, and thank you, Two Cents Crew, for picking that book. I was just like, wow, that's a revelation. But back to Spare that we're talking about today. Let's dive in. I would love to know, what do you think, has been something in that book that you felt like have not gotten the coverage, have not gotten the attention that you think it needs from whether it's from us, whether it's the media or just anyone. There's just something, not just the book, chapter three was focusing specifically on chapter three, Master of My Soul, of Spare. So I would love to know, and again, the link is, if you'd like to call in as well, the link is in the chat. So definitely go ahead and call in, and that would be in, we'll give you a couple of minutes, 2 minutes to share your thoughts, and that would be awesome. And again, the chat is open, so please go ahead and call in or let us know in the chat. So I'm just going to stay in the chat and we'll talk about it. So yeah, so I'm going to scroll all the way down and then I'm going to go back up. So yeah, let's see. Everyone is just coming in and saying hello. Let's see. Yeah, that's the thing I want to know for you. It's and I'm going to start off as I look for what you're thinking. Is one of the things that that's not covered for me, that I felt like even among us as we talk about Spare, is the sacrifice Meghan made. Her sacrifice and everything she gave up for Harry. And the more I thought about it and reading and listening to that book again, it's less like, oh my goodness, this girl gave up her whole life to be tortured. And it's just like, oh my goodness. When you think about what her life was and how carefree and wonderful, and she's just, living her life, a wonderful life with a job, career, and all of that stuff happening. And all of her life just like, was sacrificed. And it is absolutely, absolutely amazing the things that she gave up for Harry. So, yeah. Unbelievable. So yeah, let's see. As I scroll through, I'd love to hear from you, or as I said, call in. Jan Martin says, have a chai tea and blanket and my copy of Spare and ready to chat. There you go. I'm ready to chat. So there you go. Robert is hanging out with us. Hi, Robert. Joining from Rome at 1830. I heard it's freezing in New York City. Yes, it is freezing in New York City, Robert. And so I'm sending you hot chocolate. It is 18 degrees Celsius, 62 Fahrenheit today. Oh, wow. I'm so happy that it is that way in Rome. But thank you for the hot chocolate, Robert. I will absolutely, absolutely enjoy it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it's too cold for Spitzer Martinelli's today. Today is hot chocolate and hot tea day. But yeah, so definitely in here, I would love to hear from you guys. Let's see, what in the book you feel like have not been covered and you feel like we should cover? Sylvia says, I have been randomly reading different analysis of the book, and it is interesting how some of the white women tend to say chapter 3 is just Harry's side that they put doubt onto it. Of course, because it has to do with Meghan, and obviously that's what they're doing. So yeah, anything that has to do with Meghan, they just simply assume it's a lie, so yeah. Let's see, Karen. Oh, Karen is calling in. Let's see, Karen. Hello, Karen.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Karen, how are you guys doing? Hi, Petra. How you doing? You know I'm going to be here tonight, right?
Let's hear. What do you think? Something that we haven't addressed before that you feel like, you know what, we should address this, that hasn't had much, yeah.
I heard you talking about how cold it is over there. Yes, it's freezing cold here, and I'm surrounded by snow, so I'm not going out anywhere.
I know, it is pretty, it is pretty cold.
Oh yes, I'm just doing work here and listening to Spare Audible again. So.
Oh, okay. Well, share with us. What do you think has not,
Yeah,
anything
as you mentioned,
that you mentioned,
there was
has not been covered?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we went over it, and you notice there's a lot of sacrifice that Megan made. She did make a lot of sacrifice because she's the one that had to give up everything at the beginning in order to, to carry through with the relationship and to be with him. So, and there's a lot in chapter 3 that I was waiting for all of us to get to, because I know that people were still reading and stuff. So when I had discussed it before, I didn't touch on it because people were still reading and I didn't want to give away. But there was the fact that there was a lot that we did not know about the pregnancy when she was getting Archie. And also, and this was not in chapter 3, but I don't. It was in part 1, but at the beginning at Windsor, and I didn't think I don't think that it was touched on, and I think it should have been touched on, because it just shows behavior pattern and stuff like that. And I did message it in the chat. I think was it yesterday or the day before, in regards to the conversation between Harry, his brother, and his father. And I was going through it and listening to it, and I'm saying, wait a minute, it was not just one attack, it was 2 attacks, right? And I was like with my mouth open when I heard about the grabbing of the neck and the collar and all that stuff in at the Windsor Garden there. And I'm saying to myself, this is a pattern, because you're grabbing, you feel that you have to grab at your brother to tell him, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, Harold, I love you, Harold. It's like, why are you repeating that you love him, and you grabbing him is like you're forcing him to believe, what you yourself don't believe, but you're just saying it, and you're grabbing his neck and you're grabbing his collar, and every time you go to walk away, you're grabbing him back and pulling him back and telling him that, oh, I love you, Harold, I love you, Harold. I think something does not sit right with me where that's concerned, because why are you trying to force this down his throat or his head for him to feel and believe that you love him? Like, with all the stuff that you've been doing, of course, people can see that there's no love there. Okay, from your part, you don't want him to know you as a brother. You don't want him to be in school. You attack him. You're calling his wife, rude and difficult, and all this stuff, and your behavior throughout his life. And then at the end of it, okay, he's asking for help. He's coming to you guys for help, and you just ignored him. Then you took away his security. You guys expect him to die without security, obviously. And now you're grabbing him and trying to, force him to believe that all that is because you love him. Something doesn't sit right with me with that. I don't know about the rest of you, but, something is just not right. And then all these things are happening, okay, when Meghan is not around, okay? Like, what is that supposed to be? Okay, because you said you love him, he's supposed to leave his wife and come back. Like, what is the message that you're trying to give out there? I don't know. It's just weird. In chapter 3, I was in tears, most of it in tears, like all through chapter 3, because he talked about meeting Meghan. He talked about, Archie's birth, with the laughing gas and all that stuff. And it was funny when Meghan, started laughing at him. I guess that room was so pleasant and nice. I was speaking to another squatter yesterday.
Right.
It was pleasant and nice and loving, because he would use up all the laughing gas, and she's in try to give birth and in labor. They're ready to give her gas, and there was no gas because he used it up. And then she was laughing. She turned and laughed at him. So it just, tells me how loving and peaceful that was. But then at the same time, there was, like a bit of difficulty as well too, during the time, of Archie's birth and all that stuff, that, we could have not even have him. But thank God that that worked out. And then when it was Lily's birth, it was so lovely that
Right. Yeah.
he wanted to be able to deliver her and stuff. And it's you just keep crying all the way through. It was just really really nice,
Right.
really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much, Karen. I think
mhm,
that's, I mean, yeah, definitely, those are definitely things that, yeah, we could definitely spend more time on, and that
mhm,
as, because, I think so much of the book is, things that, people didn't know about, for example, just, coming over the lies, especially say with Harry and William's relationship. So
mhm,
yeah, definitely, I think Meghan and her, just her sacrifices, that just, yeah,
yeah.
wasn't
And
as, talked
yeah.
about. So, but
Yeah,
thank you so much.
before you go, Petal, one of the
Oh
things
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to mention, I don't know if you picked up on this too, but most of the book, Harry seems to be humanizing, his brother and his father, right? And
hmm
as he talk of what he went through and everything, and he's also humanizing them, and uh, you know and showing them in this bright light. And I guess it's because from what he was seeing in his head, because of the love that he has in his heart so much, that every time they do whatever they did to him, he was able to like put it aside and just keep going, put it aside and keep going, and still have that love and that love and that love.
hmm
So, and he was just, you know, um, basically giving them that olive branch to just change their action, you know see this, a different way to be and to behave. And so through the book, I find most of it, he was like humanizing them. He's like forcing them to come out and be truthful. You don't have to live the kind of life that you're living. Just be
hmm
truthful and get on with it,
right.
right?
hmm
And even with all the stuff that they did to him, he showed love all the way through to that family. And
Right.
it's just amazing. And to
Yeah.
him to be the kind of man he is right now, it's just amazing, because ordinary people go through this, okay? They
Yeah.
would not all come out like this. To tell you the
Right.
truth, they
Yeah.
would not. And it's so good that the hope that he had all the time in his heart, that his mom was still alive, is what keep him going.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
what
Well,
keep him
thank you
going.
so much,
Yeah,
Karen.
you're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. We're gonna get some more people their take on
Not a
it as well.
problem.
But this is so important. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome. Maybe I'll come back
Uh
when somebody says something. Not a problem. Take care. Bye.
okay. Bye, my love. Okay. Bye bye. Let's see. Who else? Joan Hickey says, taking away security showed how little they cared. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've talked quite a bit about security, but it is just seeing the when Harry talked about it in his book, them initially from the San Diego Summit, it was that they would keep their security for a year, and then all of a sudden, while he's playing with Archie, they just he got a call from his security person that they're pulling security at the end of March. And then it's really wild that while they're scrambling to try to get security, the palace referred him to a security firm that where it's $6 million a year for security. Like, why would you refer him to something that costs $6 million a year? And I think the thing was, it's like, well, let's do that one so that they can't afford it, so they will have to stay. They'll have to come back. It is just really sick that is the case. Absolutely, absolutely sick. Let's see. Uh, Lynn says, I just had to mention when William was beating up Harry in the back of the car, Charles just ordered the driver to stop and ordered William to go with the bodyguards in the back. That's a very interesting choice, isn't it? It just, yeah. Well, I also too, it's like, if kids are fighting, it's like the older one, no, it doesn't matter which one may have started it. The older one is like, well, you should have known better. And so very interesting. But Charles has a habit of not parenting. He lets other people come in and parent, or as in this case, send William off to the security instead of him that's being a parent and stopping it. He doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't want to come out looking like the bad guy. But he ends up looking like the bad guy anyway because he's not taking responsibility for his kids at all. So yeah. Um, Amazing. Let's see, Jeannie. Hi. Jeannie says, Harry is a classic case of Stockholm syndrome, sympathy for to his abusers. Yeah, well, it's the, definitely that, but then you have the complication of, those abusers are his family. It's just very interesting that, yeah, it, you have the love for your family, and then those very family have abused you or abusing you. And so he has like a double whammy. It's one thing if you have, people that you don't know, you could cut those strings, but then what do you do when it's your father and your brother, both of whom that's pretty much all he has since his mom isn't there. And so it's wild. Um, let's see, more comments. Um, Joan says the problem is he's still dragging Meghan back there to be abused, or still has not woken up. I think we have to remember that both Harry and Meghan are adults, and Meghan has her wits about her, and she doesn't go places. She wouldn't go to some place where she doesn't want to be. And so Meghan is not a child. Meghan is older than Harry, and an independent woman. So we cannot take away, so we can't be like, he's dragging Meghan anywhere. Meghan will always support Harry. That's her husband. And if she wants to go, she'll go. If she doesn't, she won't. So it's not a situation of him dragging Meghan anywhere or him going, you know what I mean? We don't know if he's going or not. They went for the Jubilee, and that was but that was a decision of both grown people, two grown people. So we can't get to a place where we thinking that somehow he's dragging Meghan to a place where she doesn't want to be or she doesn't want to go. I would have misgivings about going to whatever, but still, she is an adult making an adult decision. And again, we're on the outside, so who knows? But we can't take away her agency and that she is a child being dragged off to a place she doesn't want to be. So, yeah. Let's see. Another question I had is one of the things also. One of the things that was very surprising to me in the book, and I think I've talked about this on a podcast before, is the sort of arc in Charles's relationship with Meghan. He went from trying to impress her and all of that stuff and doing all this stuff to, impress her. And, at first they seemed to have a really great relationship, and obviously he walked her down the island. And all of a sudden, by the time the Queen's funeral, he's referring to Meghan as her, where Harry had to pull him up and be like, don't you dare speak about my wife in that way. Harry didn't say specifically what his father said. I'm assuming that's in book 2 if it ever gets published. But it's just that relationship arc. It is just like, what happened? Like, what, yes, we know that Charles is very much into people not taking the spotlight. But is that all? Is that all the reason why that relationship went so from just trying to impress her and being, at least being nice, or maybe he was just pretending to be nice at the beginning because he wanted that, Commonwealth title. He wanted to make it look like he was really there for her, so that people, who are voting for him to be head of the Commonwealth, could really think he was being a father, you know. Um, that could be it as well. So that's something very, very interesting for me. But another thing, I want to throw out there is there anything about Harry's life that, I mean, we know a lot about his life, but has there anything about his life that has shocked you? Anything that is like, "Oh, I didn't know this about him, or I would not have thought this about him," or you know what I mean? The things, whether it's his attempt to get help for his mental health, all the things and the ways that he tried to get help, or anything about his life that you feel like, wow, this is surprising. I wouldn't have thought this. I'd love, I'm just throwing out things that I'd love to just sort of jog, whatever you're thinking. So definitely, I'd love to see. Chody says, he's still being used, bullied, and treated like property. He can explain all he wants with his genuine brotherly love. The goalposts will never change in favor of Harry, never. And I think we're talking there about William. I'm not sure I quite understand. So I'm assuming you're responding to someone else's thing, but someone else's post. Let's see. See, Sylvia is talking to Black Queen. She says, I agree. Keep in mind, although Harry has said he wanted to leave UK, it was always to get away from the tabloids and not the royal family. This is a very interesting point, and it's a very, very good point, because it's something that I wrote down. One of the things that Harry specifically said, he will always love his family. He will always support the Queen. He will always love his country. Harry is not anti-monarchy. And is one of the things I had to realize as I read it and listened to his words. He is not anti-monarchy. He's anti how it's run. He sees the good that the monarchy can do. And so he's not an anti-monarch. He's not anti the Queen. He's not anti his family. What he is anti is his family's relationship with the press. And it was very, very interesting. It was just like, oh, and he's very, very specific about it, And definitely anti those courtiers, especially the wasp, the bee, and the fly. He's definitely anti those people, and Angela Kelly and all of those who've been leaking from the different palaces. He's definitely anti those. But the monarchy itself, he sees the value, at least for him, the value, I guess, in what it can do, as opposed to how it's run today. And so he said as much. I think it was on, not sure which one of the interviews. It may have been the one, the 60 Minutes one, where he talked about that he didn't, believe in how it's run now, so that's the thing he doesn't believe in. So yeah, it's very interesting. Let's see. Whitland says, William utilized every tactic to hold and control Harry because he saw the writing on the wall. His security blanket was no more. Willie resorted to physical violence because he's no longer protected. Isn't that interesting? Because he was totally fine with Harry, but one of the things that's always kept coming up is whenever Harry brought up, his relationship with Meghan, William would always say, it probably is not going to happen. You have to be okay with if it doesn't happen, as in marrying Meghan. When Harry got, started. He's the one that literally, the first person that suggested Harry gets help and get some mental help. And then when Harry literally started being helped and started to think on his own, and not that he wasn't thinking on his own before, was less dependent, I guess, on William, and was having, really getting help mentally and being able to figure out things. All of a sudden, William changed and started, basically saying he's unstable, and that he's deluded and delusional and all of these things. And it's just like, so Harry is finally getting strong and he's finally getting help. the help that he's always needed, that you even suggested that he get. But when he's finally getting that help, all of a sudden he is deluded, and and he's emotionally unstable. And it's very interesting. And you're right, attacking him. And you're like, that's craziness. Absolutely craziness. So yeah. Um, let's see. Very interesting. What else? Let's see. Nissy Gate. Hello, Nissy Gate. I don't think I've seen you here before. Let's see. Nissy Gate says that they all think just because Harry is the spare and the scapegoat, they should stay and shut up as if he is property. And well, at least that's how they treat the spare. But Harry again is proving that he is none of those. I mean, they used him in this way until he got strong and be like, no more. And now, we're seeing the response of the royal family. It's like attack, 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 because all of a sudden they don't have someone to throw under the bus anymore. Joyce says Harry is not dragging Meghan anywhere. They're adults. If she goes with Harry, she will go and support him. Personally, I would not trust Harry going back to that place alone. That's very interesting you brought that up, because notice all the times that Harry say got with the Queen or Prince Charles or William, and all of those summit and meetings that they had in that book, they always got him alone, and then they all piled on him, including the Sandringham summit. It's like this always trying to get Harry alone. And it's like, and it's wonderful to see that, they thought like, okay, if we got him alone, we can pile on him and make him change his mind with it, whatever way. But it's amazing that that's been their thing. Get him alone. Unbelievable. Oh, Sean is on. Hello, Sean. Let's just bring Sean on and see what. Hello, Sean.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, but turn off whatever is in your echo. So whatever you're listening to.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now better. Yes, welcome.
Okay. It's something that I caught in the book, and I don't know if anybody's paying attention. You know, when it says in the Bible, the words that come out of your mouth, you could speak either blessings or you could speak the curse over your life. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Listen to this. Okay. Well, okay. How I want to put this. In the book, I've noticed they called him Harry and they called him Harold, which we know his name is Henry. I remember years ago when I was a much younger kid, they asked Diana, why do people call him Harry if his name, that's when the first time I knew his name was Henry. I didn't know his name was Henry. This was years ago when Diana said, yes, his name is Henry, David, whatever. But people call him Harry. And Diana said, I don't know. She said they just started calling him Harry and it just stuck. I never thought about it until the Harold incident just recently when we learned about the Harold, calling him Harold. Henry and Harold were two former monarchs from his past. I mean, from his family line. They both, Harry came back and he annihilated everybody. He was cast off, then he came back and he was not. Listen to the words that came out of Harry's mouth. Harry said he's a kindred spirit. He's someone I guess Harry could relate to. Harry was saying something right then and there. Nobody didn't pick up on that. If this Harry came back in 1066, I believe it was, to take them all down and to fight or whatever he did to these people, then Harry must somewhat kind of agree, because he didn't disagree with Harry did. Also, Harold was somebody, they called him Harold. Why are they calling him Harold? Well, come to find out, Harold was another distant from his ancestry line. Harold was another one that came back and gave that, during that generation, gave that family a good a-whipping. So they're not calling him these names for nothing. Somehow, spiritually, those names stuck to him for a reason. And when Harry said Harry was a kindred spirit of his ancestors, it made me think they are calling him names of people who came back to take them down and rule. And you have to think about that. And it's in his book, and people paid attention to that. And if they're calling him these names, and he's been called this name since birth,
right,
then spiritually, something had to be going on in that family spiritually to shake that family up. And Harry is the man. If you notice how everybody is turning now, a lot of people are turning, they are getting desperate. They're getting ice skaters to say negative things about Harry and Meghan. It's just getting pathetic now. And people I'm noticing on social media who wasn't royal fans didn't care. But now they're thinking about it. They're hearing so much about it. They're like, hey, wait. Whoa, this doesn't make any sense.
right.
Even people who couldn't stand Harry and Meghan are now saying, wait, I might don't get into this royal stuff. And I thought it was them too. But now that I'm listening and paying attention, and my wife read the book, or my cousin read the book, or my mother read the book, or whatever, and looked at the documentary, people are saying now, whoa, I'm starting to see something now.
Right.
And that's what's happening. I think Harry, the spirit of his ancestors, the two that came back and did damage to that family in two different generations, is living within Harry. And I'm telling you, this is only the beginning. I want people to pay attention. The words that come out of your mouth, because they called him this. He never called himself that. They called him that. So you could speak blessings and you could speak curses on somebody, but you have to watch what you say, because the words that you use against a person, the names that you call them, can either hurt them or rise them up to the top. And the two names, Harry and Harold, are rising him to the top like a cake does in the oven. And I want and people pay attention to that. And last but not least, before I go, Andrew, you're a sick old man. Disgusting. And I want to leave y'all with that, because I know he's listening. Bye.
Hi, Sean. Thank you so much. That is so interesting. That is so true. Harry did mention that. He did mention that, and in different ways. I mean, we've seen Harry just take on his family now, as none of his generation or even Charles's generation have done, and just laying it out. Even though Charles did his autobiography, but still not like this. So in his own way, Harry is taking on his family and calling them out. And so very interesting, Sean. Thank you so much. I love that. Thank you. Thank you guys. That is very, very interesting. And really, this is the first I'm hearing someone bring this up. So thank you so much. And that definitely needs some more attention. And I actually need to go research those Harry and Harold. Yeah, that Harold definitely did come out of nowhere for me. I was like, Harold? How did he come up with Harold? I mean, obviously Harold, but still, then of course, Willie, who didn't know about that one either. So yeah. Let's see. Thank you again, Sean. Cheryl W says, shocked that he lived in such measly accommodation. Shocked he was physically attacked by his brother. Yes. Yeah, that living situation in, palace adjacent, as he called it, living situation at Knott Cottage is just, oh my goodness, that is. And it embarrassed a lot of royal reporters, and they were so embarrassed, and they were trying to be like, no. Other people have lived there and they have been grateful for it, and it's just like, no, it's a shock. It's a shock. There is no getting around Whatnot Cottages. So yeah, absolutely no getting around Whatnot Cottages. Let's see. Chody says, he says, like father, like son, both heirs are contemptible and dangerous. Pulling rank, manipulation, bullying, and abuse seem to be the norm. Yeah, it is very, very much the norm there. That manipulation. And again, it's that getting Harry alone has been the thing. Definitely getting him alone to do, to where they think they can, they can manipulate him into doing what they want him to do, which is basically, be a spare and allow himself to be thrown under the bus for them. Unbelievable. Let's see. Joan Hickey says maybe the life he lived in, the shack he lived in shocked me. The bargain hunting, plastic bins for clothes, no furniture. Yeah, that was, that's definitely not how that royal lifestyle that, that's sold to the world is supposed to be. Definitely not what was painted, so that's, again, I always go back to what Meghan says, people judge them on a perception. They don't know the reality, but judge them what they perceive their life to be, and the reality is very, very different. So yeah. Terry H, hi Terry, said, I think him changing his attitude towards Meghan, being manipulated by Camilla and William. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Could be. Definitely could be the case too, because it was very interesting how he went from someone who's just really liked her, really thought Meghan was great, apart from, even say him wanting the role and wanting, Commonwealth people to look favorably on him. They seem to genuinely, at least what it seemed like, again, we can only see what they show us, but it seemed like they genuinely had some affection there. And then it was just very jarring to see, that completely, to where he's referring to her as her, and whatever derogatory thing he said to Harry, that Harry had to call him on it. And it just, wow, that's very much, that's a big change there. Not that we should be shocked, but yeah. Let's see. Nissy Gates says, Harry has become a global citizen because of joining the military. His father was practically raised by nannies and the men in gray suits. So was William. Okay, I'm not sure what you're responding to or saying, but okay, cool comment. Yeah, very true. Definitely very true. The Queen was always out, and so Charles was definitely raised by nannies. And obviously after Diana's death, definitely. Let's see. Gloria says, Harry reminds me of children that were physically and mentally abused by their parents, but they still declare undying love for them. I have friends like that, and I never understand. Yeah, unfortunately, that is definitely the situation. I think the heart does what it does. The heart loves who it loves. You can't explain it. And it just, you just have to love them through it, and love that hopefully that someday they're able to have a relationship with people who truly love them, for them to see the difference. You can't force someone to not feel what they feel. So it's just, you gotta love them through it. And that's why for me, even with Harry, wanting a relationship, I'm on the outside and I could see, at least what we see on the outside, we could see, what the dangers of there. But again, with Harry, he doesn't yet. His heart is not letting go at yet. So for me, I feel like you just gotta love him through it, and respect where he is, and then maybe, hopefully, someday he'll see. Hopefully. So, Matt World says, I believe that Harry and Meghan will make the best decision for themselves and their family. They're the ones who know what actually is going on, and I wish the royal family would do the same. Yeah, Yeah, exactly. They, again, they're adults. We just gotta, respect where they are in that. So yeah. Let's see. What is your, I was thinking of, say, in chapter 3, because so much of it is just the struggle of, trying to just live and trying to breathe with all the drama that was going around them. What are some things that you find that were, say, the happier moments, of chapter 3? What are some things that you just like, wow, this gives me at least hope that, they'll come through even now. Now they're in happier times. What are some of the happier moments that you saw in chapter 3? Let's see. Just simple happy moments that, And again, chapter 3 for me is their love story. It's kind of like Harry and Meghan docu-series. So with all the drama, there was love in there. So yeah. Carol Rennie says, all I can say is I'm thankful to God for bringing Meghan into Harry's life. I know, right? It's like thinking about, Harry said, I think it was in the docu-series where he says, he can't imagine what life would be like if they had stayed in the UK. And it's like, what would that be like for Harry? Seeing that all that he has accomplished now, as, as a father, as a husband, father of 2, has his own home, has a job, has a foundation, he's doing his own thing, he's a best-selling author, like all of these things. What would life be like under, and I think that was part of it too. It's like Harry's brimming with all of this talent, with all of this stuff, and he's stuck in that system that holds you down so they can lift up and promote 2 people and 4 people that are just nowhere near, maybe 3, because Prince Charles is good. With all the things that I can hold against Prince Charles, his work ethics and his ingenuity in creating things is not one of those things I could hold. The man he's excellent at his work. I cannot fault him. So maybe 3, 3 people. Harry had to, basically pull back so they could elevate 3 people who are just nowhere near as talented, intelligent, and just has his work ethic. Harry has his father's work ethic. And that's the one good thing I could say that he got from Charles. His work ethics and his, just being out there creating new things and so definitely that's the only good thing I could see Charles had that Harry got, so, but yeah. I am thankful, that Meghan is in his life, that it's helped him to have the confidence to get out of there and to thrive now. I mean, gosh, look at the things he's doing. It's amazing. Let's see. Oh, Nisika, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate your super sticker, getting a super sticker. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Catherine Bird says, that is the reason I think Harry will go. Harry better realize his family will not change. He may love his country, but his country does not love him and respect him and his family. And, it's so funny because that's one of the things he said in the book, actually. He said, he talked about how much he loved his country, how much he loves his family. He only wished his family and his country were there for him and Meghan in their darkest moments. And that was one of the saddest things to read in that chapter. It was like, yeah, with all the things Harry gave for his country and his family, he gave up his autonomy, he gave up everything for his family, all of himself. I mean, look at what he's able to accomplish away from them. He had given all of that up to be there and be a lackey for, the rest of his family. Served in the military, served in Afghanistan, put his life on the line for 2 tours of duty. And in his darkest moments, his country basically abused them. Not everybody in his country, but a large part in their media and his family. they have abandoned and abused him. And that's what he said. He wished his country and his family were there for him and his wife in his darkest moment. He also talked about, how sad it was and how heartbreaking it was for him to watch his family, watch his country basically disrespect his wife. His own people disrespecting his wife. So yeah, it's just very, very, very heartbreaking to read that. Oh, Karen, thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. Wendy Lohman says, I think William is terrified of Duchess Meghan because she's not a pushover as his wife. Yes. One of the things that's not talked about a lot is that remember when Meghan and Harry were over at Kate and William's house? And Kate, with that baby brain thing, and Kate was like, you don't know me enough to talk about my hormones. And William took it upon himself to put his finger in Meghan's face. And Meghan's like, kindly take your finger away from my face or out of my face. And it's just like, for you to put your hand, point your finger in someone's face. I was just like, oh my gosh. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was like, what? That's when I was thinking Harry should have gotten up and go after William in that moment. But maybe he just pulled it away right away, and there didn't need to be another escalation because Meghan took care of that situation right away. But that for me was alarming, very alarming. And on that, I'm going to add another question in there. What, we know, we've talked about Kate before, but there are just certain element of entitled behavior from William and Kate that really, other than Kate made Meghan cry, you know what I mean? I didn't know any other much more detail of what she had done. But one of the things that surprised me was that she felt like Meghan didn't know her enough to talk about her hormones, but she felt entitled to tell Meghan basically that she needed to, remake 4 days from the wedding, remake bridesmaids' dresses and have some kind of party for the page boys who weren't even there at the time. And so she felt like she knew Meghan enough to basically dictate to Meghan how her wedding should go. But Meghan didn't know her enough to talk about, suggest, even trying to defend her that she had baby brain and that is part of your hormones when you, something that happens with your hormones when you, become a new mom or something. And so that for me was very interesting. Like, she felt like, oh, well, you don't know me enough to say that, but I know you enough to tell you how you need to do your wedding. It's just like, girl, what? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. Carol Rennie is agreeing with Sean. I never thought of it that way. Yes, Harry did mention that in the book. And so, very interesting. Verda Sanchez says, Nostradamus. Nostradamus did say something about that in his prediction about Prince Harry, Sean. Did he mention Prince Harry? I don't know. I think he said somebody would take over and something like that. And I'm not sure. Did he actually mention Prince Harry? But that was a very interesting prediction, Nostradamus prediction there. What else? Let's see. Christina has some insight into King Harold. She says King Harold was defeated by William I in 1066. Ooh, and then Henry VII returned from exile and defeated Richard III. Oh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Getting some history here. Thank you guys. I didn't know. I got to research all this stuff. I'm just going to take your word for it. So there you go. Very interesting. Let's see some more comments about things that And anything that shocked you, I mean, whatever you're thinking in the book, anything that shocked you, you loved, whatever, that has not been touched on, and you feel like, whether it shocked you, something you loved, something that, you didn't know before, something that just like crushed your spirit, like, oh my God, whatever it is that you feel like this has not been highlighted and I want to shine a spotlight on it, I'm taking all of it. So there, yeah. Lydia says, responding to Sean, she says, wonderful perspective, Sean. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it is definitely is. Yeah. And Terry also is responding to Sean, says, Sean, that's something to think about. Harry has a lot of fire in him. He's a fighter. Yeah, he's definitely is a fighter. Let's see. Scrolling down, get some more. Kids Endora says, preach, Sean. Thanks for speaking for what everyone has been saying since day one. Sean, you were definitely onto something there. Everyone is agreeing with that, definitely. Let's see. Jessica Foreman says, I've been reading the last chapter. Kate is responsible for a lot of this turmoil. Meghan needs to stand back and watch Camilla, Kate annihilate each other. Camilla and Kate are vipers. They definitely have not been the loving kind, are they? They have definitely not be. But again, I can't put all this blame on women and not say they both have husbands who have co-signed this behavior. So I'm putting it on all of them, every single one of them in equal share. That's where I stand on that one. Because yes, Camilla has especially her people in the press, but yes, Charles as well. Saw the son baking him cake. He's written articles for the Daily Mail. I mean, they both are equal share, responsible for the mess that's happening and has happened with this family. So yeah. Lydia, back to you. Lydia says, seems like they did not call him Harold until after his mother's passing. Oh, okay. I don't know, because the book started at Diana's death. So I don't know. Again, this is the first I'm hearing about the Harold thing. And again, the only other person I've ever heard call Harry Harold is crazy guy who not crazy, was it Jeremy, what's his name, that wrote that nasty article about Meghan. He was the only person that I've ever heard called Harry Harold. And then William, it's just like, I don't even know that Charles only calls him darling boy. I'm like, does Charles even know Harry's name? He only calls him darling boy. And to the point where Harry's like, I'm not a boy anymore. So yeah, it's like, I've never heard him. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard Charles call Harry by his name. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't. I just haven't known. I don't remember ever hearing it. Let's see. More comments. Anything that shocked you about Harry at all? Anything at all? I mean, I know he got like some of the way he lived and all of that stuff. Anything that shocked you from him personally, like things he said about himself or thought about himself? One of the things is that really surprised me in a beautiful way is I would never think of Harry, even though I know he's a very sensitive type, is when he was in Botswana and Meghan had left Botswana, and then his phone got in the water and all of that, and then he was trying to figure out a way of writing a letter, and then he was like trying to find flowers to beautify the letter and make it beautiful so he can take a photo of it, and the lengths he went to, even in Lion Country, trying to get flowers. And it was just like, that was really, for me, surprising in the sense of, it's like, oh, wow, that's surprising, but it was beautiful for me to see the lengths that he went to. And I'm telling you, when a man is in love, there are times you see people like chasing guys and, the guy is not really going out of their way to go after. And this is kind of how when a guy is really hooked, because the lengths they would go to show it, it really is like you never have to chase a guy. A guy, if they will show you if they're coming after you, you know. And so I love that. I love the lengths to which he went to try to communicate, to try to get a letter to Meghan and to try to make it look beautiful, you know. I love that. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Let's see. Dolores says, what shocked me was this man who created the Invictus Games and partner, the Invictus Games and partner to strengthen Sentebale did not feel strong enough. I don't understand what you mean. It shocked me that this man who created Invictus Games and partner to strengthen Sentebale did not feel strong enough. Explain a little further, Dolores, exactly what you mean by that. That would be great. Let's see. Kenita says, does anyone know if Netflix documentary part 2 if a Netflix documentary part 2 is coming out? If you're talking about Live to Lead, hopefully, I know that the Nelson Mandela Foundation are working on it, and and Ruth and Blackwell, who the producers, they were working on it. So hopefully, if you're talking about Harry and Meghan docuseries, I would not put my any stock in that at all. I think that is the past. I think Harry and Meghan have done that. I don't think there's another part 2 to that. But yeah, Live to Lead, they are working on it. It's just if Netflix options it. Hopefully they do, because I know Blackwell did say yes, they did, and I have confirmation from their email that they are working on it. And also the interview from the Nelson Mandela Foundation, their president or CEO, whatever his role is, the leader of that organization, said that they are definitely working on part 2, and so hopefully Netflix options it. So that would be good. So yeah, let's see. Lynn says, in the book, Harry talked about the rumor about Charles not being his father, yet Charles never dispelled all of those rumors. Yes. That has not been touched on a lot. That is so cruel. That is so cruel to do to a child, even though you know that those rumors are going and how hurtful that would be. He never dispelled it and even tried to make a joke out of it. And it's just like, how do you do that? That is so cruel. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lynn, for bringing that up. That is just, ooh. That is just awful. Absolutely awful. Let's see. Joyce says, Tyler Perry called it when he said that Meghan was abused and Harry was abused also. In Harry's case, it looked like verbal and physical abuse. Yes. And it's so funny, when I first heard it, when Tyler first said it in the Harry and Meghan docuseries, I connected it with Meghan, but I didn't connect it so much as with Harry, even though you know what stuff is happening. I didn't realize the extent to which Harry was abused. I didn't and so it's not until reading the book that I realized, like, oh my gosh, the extent of this was so much more than I thought was ever possible. And so yeah, let's see. Sylvia says, Petal, you can go back to when Harry said when his dad first met Meghan. Harry said his dad and Meghan got into a quiet conversation and Camilla tried to listen to them. It was already jealousy. That is very true. Harry did mention that. Yeah, instead of, having a conversation with Harry, she was kind of listening into the conversation. Camilla is weird, man. She is just unbelievable. Oof. It's like everything that she is, they've tried to throw on Meghan. It's unbelievable. Let's see. JMAT says, hi Bella, just broke my heart for Meghan. She was such a happy, outgoing person. They tried to break her. I hate that. I hate them for that. My mom said never use hate, but I can't help it. Yeah, I mean, hate is strong, but I do understand. I do understand where you're coming from with it. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's kind of like this happy, outgoing person that met Harry, and all of a sudden now she has to pretty much, well, now she could live freely as whatever, but still, she has to guard against all that hate that's coming to her, and it's unbelievable. And so now hopefully now she's able to get back some of that, that happy-go-lucky person or that outgoing person. Definitely not as outgoing as she was before, because obviously for obvious reasons. But yeah, they really tried to destroy this woman and make her into what Kate has become. Not that I don't know much about what Kate was before, but definitely she didn't seem to be this kind of person, in terms of this, almost like this, I don't know, clone of something. Unbelievable. Let's see. Dolores says Camilla never liked Meghan. If you Google it, you will find she worked with Meghan's father from the very beginning. Was there a confirmation about that? I know the editor of her book, the editor who wrote the book about Camilla, I think her name was Carolyn something from the Daily Mail, is the one that moved next door to Thomas Markle. And she's the one, I think she was the one that actually wrote the article where they leaked Meghan's mail to her dad. Carolyn, I don't remember what her last name is, but was there the confirmation that Camilla specifically worked with Meghan's father? I don't know. I'd never saw one. Would I be shocked? No, absolutely not. I would not be shocked by that at all. Let's see. Rhonda Bryan says, from the start, Harry always told Meghan he would protect her, and he's kept his word. I'm telling you, Harry is a man of his word. So much so that when William attacked Harry and then said, he told Harry to not tell Meghan, Harry didn't. He chose to call his therapist instead because he made a promise. And Harry that kind of loyalty is amazing to me. He's a man of his word. He keeps his word. And there you go. Amazing. That was amazing to me. It was just like, he didn't because he said he wouldn't. And it's just like, wow. Even in that situation, he kept his word. Let's see. Joyce, I keep coming back to you, Joyce. Joyce says, when you look at what Harry and Meghan has accomplished in 2 years, you see the hard work he and Meghan's put into their foundation. What the royal family always knew is that Harry was smart. And that's the thing. They have sold the British people on this Harry is dumb, to the point where even Harry believed it. Like he said in his book. He believed that, when you look at Meghan, he sees all these things of Meghan. But when you listen to Harry, this is not a man who is dumb in any way, shape, or form. I shouldn't say dumb. That is wrong. And that's not correct. Like, he's intelligent. He's not intelligent. He saw himself, because people say that about him, and then he started believing that about himself, even though he's not as educated as some of others were in terms of, say, schoolwork and all of those things. But I'm telling you, you don't learn to fly an Apache helicopter if you don't have intelligence, if you can't figure things out, if you can't especially process 3 and 4 sets of information at the same time. You just can't do that in a battlefield, and Harry's able to do that. And so the fact is, they've sold Harry who he is, and he bought into it. And hopefully, I'm assuming now he doesn't think the same way, but it's just like, no, Harry is very, very intelligent. They needed him to be, not intelligent so they can prop up William. But I guess, now when you look at their work and what they have accomplished, you see the very reverse is true. The reverse of that is true, because Harry is the one who's accomplishing things while William is still, trying to figure out. It's like, where did my hair go? It's just amazing. Let's see. Lydia says the pettiness of Easter gifts, demands of the wedding clothes show how petty Kate is. You could tell she was petty, but I didn't realize how the depths of pettiness. It's just like, really? Easter gifts? And even Harry, where he's like, Easter gifts, is that a thing? I know, it's like everybody's like, Easter gifts? Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Cynthia Ashton says, as a West Indian, point your finger in someone's face is highly disrespectful and a physical fight will ensue. Exactly. You don't point your finger in somebody's face that you respect. Absolutely. He did not respect Meghan at all. He still doesn't, obviously. To point, there was a photo of Kate in a car with William, and you see the long finger pointed by her face. And it's just like, he's used to doing that. And so, yeah, it's very, very disrespectful. I'm glad Meghan called him out on it. And it's probably one of the reasons, I'm sure, he really does not like Meghan, because other people in the palace would probably not say anything and allow him to do it. So, yeah. Let's see. Compton Caligal says, Harry started Santa Bali and put on a concert to raise money for his mom's charity. William then knew that Harry was smart and would outshine him on a larger scale. Yeah, Harry has been doing it over and over. It's so true. So true. And that's why he is so desperate for Harry to be there, because he could hide behind Harry. Harry does the work, he could take credit for it. So let's see. Let's see. Kathy G says they picked Frogmore because it was least expensive renovation, even though Harry kind of knew things might go sideways. Yeah, that was the interesting part too. I think we talked about this before, but not a lot of coverage on this. And I'm glad you brought this up, because Harry says in this chapter that the palace offered them when, they were like, Nottingham Cottage is falling down around us. The repairs and all of that stuff is way too small and all of that stuff. And he said the palace offered them other options, but it was too expensive and too palatial. And they said no. And then he spoke to the queen, and the queen was like, well, there is Frogmore. He initially thought she meant Frogmore house. And she's like, no, Frogmore Cottage. Go take a look at it. It's kind of like a building site right now. Go take a look at it and see if you like it and let me know. And so they went, and, I think he said they went off the same day to look at it and loved it. And then, that's when they settled on Frogmore, and they were really happy that would be there, even though it was close by a graveyard. It was like, oh, that would have been a no for me. But his thing was like, well, if dead don't disturb us, we wouldn't disturb them. We were fine with it. That would have made me run away fast, but they were fine with the graveyard being close by. And so they settled on that. And so it just but he said, when they took it, he did say that would have been their forever home. That was where they were really looking forward to it being their forever home. And so, it just, God, things really went south, I don't know necessarily that he thought it would grow that bad and become what it has become. But yeah, it's very sad. It is very sad that how it ended up. So yeah. Let's see. Lottie says, remember the media kept saying that every woman that Harry asked to marry him, they turned him down. But he never asked anyone to marry him. He only asked Meghan. That's very true. That's very true. He didn't ask. I remember that they kept saying that, Harry was so desperate and all of that stuff, and he didn't ask. And it just is another example of how the British media have lied and made up stuff, and it's unreal. Amazing. And notice how they have dropped because the whole thing with the Harry and Meghan docu-series and Spare, the whole narrative before Spare came out was, how Spare was going to destroy the relationship between William and Harry. Oh, those brothers who were so close and they were joined at the hip, and this terrible Meghan pulled them apart. This book is going to destroy that bond that they have, that they're their bond formed from their shared grief from their mother. Notice how nobody talks about that anymore. Not one person brings up that old bond, that fake bond that's supposed that all of a sudden people are like, wait a minute, Harry wasn't his best man at his wedding, William wasn't the best man at Harry's wedding. All of that lies. No, that narrative is gone. And thank you, Marjorie. Jeremy Clarkson. All of a sudden, I couldn't remember Jeremy. I think I probably banned Jeremy Clarkson's name out of my head. Like I'm so not even caring about British royal reporters anymore. It's just like I completely tried to blank them out of my mind. Now that I've gone to Spoutable, I'm trying to not. So thank you for that memory, Jeremy Clarkson. Let's see. But Sadie Golf says, I am shocked at his drug taking. Yes. It's very interesting when he was talking to Tom Bradby, when Tom Bradby even brought that up, and he says, well, it's very important to acknowledge that, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot that, the alcohol, cocaine, weed. Well, in the US, weed is not even, it's legal in some states, but still, so yeah, it's very, very alarming, the things that he did to try to numb and try to cope. Yeah. It just, yeah. And it is funny because even though we knew, you've seen the reports over the years about Harry's drugs, and even with the drug shame part, that went over the top where, but we've known that was part of his life, but hearing him say it was still jarring. It was definitely jarring. Joan says admitting drug use is part of healing or recovery. Yeah, and so many, it's like, and especially his life of numbing, and basically putting off dealing with his mom's death. Yeah, all of this stuff to cope. So yeah. I think that's one of the things too, is like sometimes it's so quick to judge when we see someone on drugs or in whatever the drug is, whether it's alcohol, whether it's harder drugs like cocaine or any of those things, and it's so easy to judge like, oh, they're just an addict, or and we don't understand, or we don't really know why people, how they got there and what happened to them for them to get to those places, and in so many places is, trying to cope with whatever trauma that they're going through. And it's a way to numb the pain and all of that stuff. And I think if we look at a lot of this stuff more and think in terms of this, where we wouldn't write people off or family members off as quickly as, oh, they're just a drug addict. Yes, they do need to get to a place where they, they are able to get the help they need. And some people you have to let them hit bottom for them to to change or turn around. But I think when in terms of writing someone off or just dismissing them as just drug addicts, if we take a minute to try to understand where that is coming from, then maybe we can have more compassion and love instead of just sort of like brush it off as, oh, they're just an addict, so it's interesting. It's definitely opened my eyes in a lot of ways on how I think in terms of stuff like this. Catherine says, Harry had a whole family in Botswana. I know! That was a thing that was surprising. When I first heard him say that in the Harry and Meghan docuseries, I was like, what? Who are those people? I had no idea. That was definitely surprising. But it was good to know. It was definitely good to know he had a family over there that loved him. And like he said, he was happy Spike there and very tense and, angry Harry in the UK. So it's like he was living two different lives. Amazing. So yeah. Cal Austin says, Harry's a romantic, very sweet part of his attractiveness. Yeah, that's the extent that I didn't know how much of a romantic he is. I mean, for a guy to be trying to find a flower, and he said, they told him at the top of some tree out there in lion country to find a flower to decorate a letter. It's like, that's a little much. So definitely a romantic. Let's see. Eoma says, Charles calling Harry darling boy is manipulative. It kept Harry always seeking his love and acceptance because Charles never gave him love. But with this pet name, name keeps promises. Pet name keeps promises it or promising it. That is so true. That is so true. That darling boy does give it an air like, oh, he loves. But then you look at his actions and it's like, wait a minute. That's not loving. That is not loving. Yes, I totally. Thank you, Ilma, for saying this. Absolutely. So let's get a couple more before we end. Let's see. H9 says, who is the bee and the wasp? Oh, the bee is the Queen's former private secretary, and oh my goodness, and it's so funny. The names of them are right. It's definitely, I don't remember his name right off. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain freeze today. I think it's the cold. I'm going to blame it on the cold. But he was the Queen's private secretary, and the wasp was Prince Charles's private secretary. And so if anybody remembers their name, please post it in because my brain isn't functioning today. So and then obviously the fly was Simon Case, who was Prince William's. So yeah. So whatever his name is, the Queen's former private secretary, that's the one that he's the one that did not let the Ravek know that Harry offered to pay, and he was a part of Ravek and they did not tell Harry. Yep, that's him. And the other one is Prince Charles's private secretary. But oh my goodness, Simon Case, Harry pegged him so perfectly. It's just like, oh my goodness. I'm just like, so anyone who could help me with their names, I can't think at the moment. I cannot remember. Today's is one of those names I'm completely, my brain is frozen as well. So yeah. Christina says, drug use in the Aristo set is not unusual. Harry's therapist was surprised he wasn't an addict, given his exposure to trauma. Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is, with William was friends with all of them. They were all in that circle after a while. And so, and one of the things I remember, Robert Jobson saying that Harry was the one who was always reported that he was doing drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. But he was like, William was right there. William was right there getting into the same mess, and they never reported. So I would assume William was using just like Harry, and they just know we don't have evidence of it because they didn't report it. So yeah. It's the same way why, we don't have pictures of William's costume when Harry was wearing the Nazi uniform. Yeah, we don't have any pictures because they got rid of it. And so, yeah, we only have Harry. And so, yeah, but that is even with Guy Pelly, that was William's friend. And when he got into drugs, all of a sudden he was Harry's friend. You don't hear William's name attached to Guy Pelly at all. Only really Harry. And so it's very interesting how they do it. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Edward Young. Yep, Edward Young, the Queen. Thank you so much. Like I said, my brain is not functioning right now. So yes, Edward Young, definitely. That is the Queen's well, late Queen's private secretary. I don't know if he's still working for Prince Charles, because he was he sort of transitioned over for a time, and then he was going to leave from he was gonna leave from service. So yeah. But yeah, it's Edward Young is who that is. Let's see. Let's see. Couple more before we end. Cynthia Ashton says there's a difference between the word accuse and condemn. The media cannot condemn Harry anymore. He's put his life out on a global stage. Harry said, "Love me or hate me, I am free." And that is so true. That is so true. That is awesome. Yes, 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 yes. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. Yep, the difference between the words condemn and accuse. They can accuse him of stuff, but they can't condemn. It's like, yeah, Harry has put his life out there. He doesn't ask. He doesn't care whether you love him or hate him. He put it out there. You can think of him as you like. And I like this saying, there was an actress who she said this, and I love that, because she was going through a lot. And she said, "I'd rather people hate me for who I am than love me for who I am not." And so I feel like Harry, that's Harry. It's like, you can go ahead and hate me for exactly, but you're going to know who I am, and I'm cool with that. So I absolutely, absolutely love that. So anyways, that's it, guys. Unfortunately, I have to run. If there are anything else that, definitely next Saturday, we can definitely chat more about this and other chapters. And I think we'll just, leave our Saturdays for a book and talk about the book. And obviously the 25th, we'll be going and talking about Tyler Perry's book. But it's, definitely next week, if there are anything else that you want to chat about, that'd be awesome. And we can, talk about more about this or the other chapters as well. So that'll be awesome. So let me know, leave it in comments, and let me know what you think. But I have to run, unfortunately. Thank you guys so much for, hanging out with me in your Saturday afternoon. If you're in New York or any place that is really, really cold, I'm so sorry. I understand and I feel your pain. I don't want to go anywhere outside. But but thank you guys so much. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Church, Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, who make the space safe. And thank you all just for everything that you do for the channel. Thank you so much to our 2 cents crew who support the channel in every single way. Thank you for the kindness of your heart that you support the channel in this way. And also to our Gold Star supporters, as you've seen here, whether it's a donation or super chat, super stickers, super thanks. Thank you guys so much for that, for supporting the channel. Goodness, I couldn't do this without you. So thank you all very, very much. And I appreciate you again taking the time to hang out with me today. And I guess I will not be on tomorrow. I am out shooting a music video tomorrow, so I will be out of town. And so I will be back on Monday. Yep, I'll be back on Monday. So have a great weekend, guys. Stay warm, stay safe, and I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.